right, Drew, we're ready. What's up, y'all? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Boudreaux's. Bloody Mary mix, margarita mix. Get it, buy it, find it, love it. Hope y'all having a great day, great morning so far. Drew's over here already, so for those who are just anxious to see Drew come hijack the show, no doubt that'll happen soon enough. Say some good mornings. Stephen Bro, Jody Moscona, Blake McGraw, David Childers, Trivia Carter, Darren Pellegrin, Travis McGraw. Drew, already start. It's already starting. Hey, and he thinks that is the funniest thing in the world. I'll go ahead and fix that now. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate the help this early in the show, bud. As always, keep on helping Dad. Lord. One sec, y'all. All right, I think we got it framed now. Oh, Lord, he's coming back. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Okay. Let's see. A lot to talk about here this morning. LSU continuing to fall camp. Quarterbacks ran some option yesterday. Sean Salisbury having conversations to join the staff. It was an odd story. Saints released their depth chart. We'll get into that. Darren Pellegrin, Travis McGraw, Leroy Blanchard, Lori Profit, Craig Sandoval, Bobby Otten. Good morning. Nick Torina, good morning. Say, bro, them UCLA hats, they can't fly, Nick. So Nick Torina on his Instagram posted a photo of his bride that everyone knows wearing a UCLA hat. He said it was a Cubs hat. Say, dog, why are you up there pulling that? No, stop. I don't need your help. Thank you. I don't need your help framing shots, Drew. You're not very good at it. Thank you. Oh, Lord. Aaron, good morning. Josh Long. Bobby Codal, good morning. Zach Minton. Let's see, one more. Let's see, I think I got to come like that a little bit more. Josh Long. Tony from Dutchtown. Better watch Drew's coming for his job. Whew. Tony can frame a shot. Drew messes up framing shots. Scott, good morning. All right, if y'all got questions, as always, you know the drill, fire away. A quick reminder as we get started here. Today's Tuesday, so Tuesday noon, Ryan Terrio and I will be recording the Riot podcast. I think next Tuesday we're going to be at Pluckers on Nicholson. Today we're likely going to be back at Traction. If that changes, stay up to date for updates. And but we will be on Facebook Live at noon Central, Terrio and I. And then obviously the audio will be posted as well. You stop. Now he thinks that's the game. He has to come in here and move that, so I'll react to it. That's the game now. So obviously, Jason Gonzalez, good morning, and Mary, good morning. Let's see, Scott, who you got, McGregor or Khabib? Scott, I'm curious if you're an MMA fan. Because if you're really an MMA fan, you shouldn't even need to ask that question. Like, Conor McGregor, especially having not fought in 2 years, is going to get absolutely taken apart by Khabib. Like, McGregor's only shot, like literally the only shot he has to win that fight, is if he does what he did to, was it Aldo? I mean, just comes right at the gate and lands one in the first 15 seconds, and it's night time. That's his only chance of beating Khabib. That's it. No. Stop. Now he just wants me to react and grab the damn tripod. Anyway. All right, hey, Jocelyn, you think Khabib? All right, man. Hey, look, when that rolls around, let's talk. Conor ain't beating Khabib, bro. All right, let's talk some football. Adam Penny. For those who are figuring this out, I'll stall for the first couple of minutes, let the audience build a little here, let some people jump aboard so we start to get your questions, so I'm not just diving right into it and then I end up answering a lot of the same questions multiple times. So, Mark Chafisi, good morning. Good to see you there. It's the name I remember from my, I shouldn't say childhood, but I certainly recognize from New Orleans days. Mark Lacey, good morning to you as well. All right, let's get into it. We'll talk some what did I have first? Oh, Sean Salisbury. What a weird story, huh? So I noticed that. Actually, I didn't notice it. So Sean Salisbury hosts Afternoon Drive on Sports Talk 790 in Houston. My friend Josh Innes, as many of you know, hosts Morning Drive on Sports Talk 790. So I'm at my desk doing show prep yesterday up at the office, and I get a text from Josh, and it's a screenshot of Salisbury's tweet. And at that point, nobody else had seen it. I mean, maybe it had 2 retweets on it. I mean, it was like nobody had seen it at that point. So I retweeted it, made a few phone calls to see about the validity of it, and truthfully, I don't think there was ever really a chance, the way I understand it, I don't think there was ever really a chance of Salisbury joining the staff because of the IAWP rule. For those who don't know, it's called the individuals associated with a prospect. And the whole premise of the IAWP is to prevent like college coaches from hiring high school coaches or mentors or whatever on staff just to get a kid to sign. So that was the whole intent of that rule. Well, Sean Salisbury has worked with, he's got I think it's called Let It Rip Quarterback Academy, and he works with quarterbacks. And one of them is Grant Gunnell. So that's, of course, the kid LSU was recruiting, who's committed now to Arizona, and Kevin Sumlin. And you might say, okay, well, they're not, Gunnell's committed to Arizona, not recruiting him anymore, so it's all good, right? Well, if you think of it, though, if LSU were to hire Sean Salisbury, basically any quarterback in the state of Texas that he's worked with, LSU could never recruit. So I don't know that it's ever going to work out as far as a realistic possibility. But what I will say is two observations. One, Salisbury gushed about, when I talked to him, if you missed the radio interview, you can go back and listen on demand, gushed about Orgeron and the whole staff. And I really believe, I know people, when I was at Media Days last month, people asked so much about Ensminger. And it's and I get it. I do get why people ask about Steve Ensminger. Hasn't been an offensive coordinator in 20 years, a full-time OC. He wasn't in demand. It's not like people were banging down the door to hire him. So I do get the skepticism because it's an unconventional hire. I just happen to know Steve knows a crap load about offense. Like, I don't doubt at all that Steve Ensminger can organize a game plan and call a game plan. And, some of the pushback that I heard at Media Days when I would try to argue that is, well, he was on staff with Les Miles and the offense has never changed. That's very true. But something that I know that in time will probably be told, and actually, if you go back, what are you closing me in here? Drew just closed me into my office. If you go back and listen to Steve Ensminger's press conference when he was introduced as OC, I actually asked him the question if he felt like his opinions on the former staff were ever considered. And because one of the things that he said was, we're going to get the whole staff in to go over game plan, and everybody's opinions are going to be considered. And it's clear that's something that didn't happen before. And for better or worse, and ultimately it ended up being worse because Les got fired and Cam. So's coming over today. It's his cousin Sophia. It's his best friend in the world. He's fired up. Anyway, it was a lesson Cam play, and truthfully, and I think from hearing from people that were on staff, other people's opinions weren't necessarily considered. So, I think to place any of the blame for what went wrong offensively with the former staff on Ensminger is short-sighted, just wrong, quite honestly. So, I don't doubt that Steve can organize a game plan, call plays, and all that stuff. Is it going to be enough to beat the heavy hitters on your schedule? Is it going to be enough to beat Miami or win at Auburn or beat Alabama or Georgia? Like, do you have enough of a level field talent-wise, and then you match it with play call and coaching? We'll see. We'll see. You can go back to 2016. 2016 was loaded, man. That team was absolutely loaded, and they were shut out against Bama and scored 10 points against Florida, both in Tiger Stadium. So, we'll see. Remember, that team had Fournette and Geis on it. Anyway, so, but what was I getting with? I know it was a long way saying it. Long story short is that I really think that with Ensminger, or that with Salisbury and what Orgeron's doing in trying to what Orgeron's doing and trying to get more analysts, I think it's absolutely what you should do. Adam said, is there a limit to the number of analysts a team can have on staff? No. As a matter of fact, now Bama has, it's 7 or 8, and LSU has 10. And that's not necessarily to say that it's LSU's in a better spot because they have more. I mean, you keep in mind, like, Bama has had former head coaches as analysts, right? Like Steve Sarkisian was an analyst. Butch Jones is an analyst now. Life champs. But anyway, look, if you have the resources, and LSU does, to bring in an analyst, and they make you 1% better, why wouldn't you? If they can make your game plan 1% better because that set of eyes sees something on film that you otherwise would not have seen, and it helps you organize that game plan and that scouting report, is it worth it? Absolutely. In my opinion, it is, if you have the resources. It's one of the things that separates the haves and the have-nots in college football. And I'm good with that. Totally elitist when it comes to college football. And steak. Hey, whoop. You better stop grabbing my tripod. Or stop that, little boy. And he thinks it's hilarious. And he's gone. Crazy kid. But he's a happy kid, though, for sure. All right, y'all got questions? Fire away. True. Bob Kubrick, good morning. Justin Robinson, good morning. Charlie Cavell, good morning. Let's see, what else do I want to get to here? So the Salisbury thing was interesting. So when I talked to Sean, I asked him, did y'all talk about the future? And he was a little non-committal about that. So he said he'd love to do it. Just that really the concern was this year, not the future. Let's see, other things. Saints depth chart. Talked about this a little bit on AFR yesterday. Saints released their first unofficial depth chart. They play Thursday. This kid is crazy. Y'all hang on. Please hang on. Come back. Hey, you're beeping. Come here. Hang on. Okay. That's got to go back on TV. Y'all are seeing how crazy my home life can be at times. He's a handful. But I love it. All right. Depth chart. Okay, so a couple of things. A lot of people are talking about linebacker and how that shakes out, but I think that's easy. You keep 6 linebackers. I think you already know Demario Davis, A.J. Klein, Manti Te'o, Craig Robertson. There's one out. Alex Anzalone. There's 5. So really the only question is Kikaha or Stupar. I mean, that's really it. Who's your 6th linebacker? So I don't think that's as intriguing as something like the offensive line. So walk through this with me for the Saints offensive line. And this is something that I know watching the offensive line is boring, but I remember when Andrews Pete was a rookie, and obviously had some injury stuff, and he was out of shape early, and I remember, and people were disappointed because he was like 13th overall pick, and he wasn't contributing as a starter right away, and you'd expect that from a guy that drafted that high. I remember watching in the preseason, and it was so, like, the 2 plays where he might have whiffed were the ones that everybody would notice. But if, like, you just fixate your eye on a player instead of the ball, hey, what's the matter? Then you'll notice a lot more. So I can remember watching Andrews Pete in one of those preseason games. He was mauling people, getting off the ball, stoning people in pass coverage. He in pass protection. I mean, he was awesome. But there were like 2 plays where he whiffed, and it's like, and that's all people talked about, which I understand. But you could tell like he was going to be really good. Hey, what do you want? Use your words, please. Use your words.
A-B.
A-B? Oh, abilities, yes. Mimi is going to come over and take you to abilities.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come home And So is going to come over and go in the pool. Yes. You and So are going to go in the pool together. Now, he's going to take a lap. He's fired up now. Okay, good. Okay. Anyway, so real quick, and I'm going to get, Jack, I'm going to get to your question here in a second about the LSU defense. So think about the offensive line. If they keep 8, all right? You know you got your starting 5. Armstead, Pete, Unger, Warford, Ramchick. You got 5. Think about this. Cameron Tom, Landon Turner, Josh Laribius, young veteran inside players. Andrew Tiller, who's been around for a while. You brought in Jamon Bushrod, veteran guy who can play inside and out. We haven't even talked, and then you got 2 draft picks with Rick Leonard and Will Clapp. That's 7 right there, vying for 3 spots. 7 guys vying for 3 spots. Like, the numbers on the offensive line for the Saints, finding your 8, that's going to get hairy. Because you got some really, really good options. You know, hey, bud. Shrug. Shrug. Okay. So for me, that's what's intriguing. And I think to a certain degree, the receiver position. True. Stop. It's not funny. I know you think it is, but it's not. Stop. No. Stop. Stop it. It's funny. No, it's not. All right. Let's see. Bear. Jack, can LSU defense be as dominant as 2011? Wow. Bear. So here's the thing about 2011. That defense was phenomenal, and I think it's so easy to look and say, yeah, but look, man, they had Mingo and Montgomery and Benny Logan and Kevin Minter and Tyrann Mathieu and Morris Claiborne and Eric Reed, right? You look at that, you look at all this. Wow. And Thorold Simon. Wow. Bear. So it's easy to look at that one and say, man, look at all the talent on that team. This team's got Greedy, and they got Devin White, and that's some nice players. But I'll put to you this way with that defense in 2011. You know, see, you're beeping, bud. You're beeping. Hey, beeper. Okay. You want to go play? Wow. Wow. Okay. Hey, do you want peekaboo? Do you want to go see peekaboo? Come see. We'll go do peekaboo. So I can talk y'all through this thing. Okay, so the 2011 defense, all right. Here's my take on that. All those guys, I think it's implausible. So to answer your question, no, I don't think they could be as good as 2011 because 2011 had Tyrann. And to try to characterize anything on this defense as Tyrann-esque would just be a fabrication. And it's not to insult anybody on this team. It's just understanding, Tyrann Mathieu in 2011 was the biggest game changer in college football. He was a damn Heisman Trophy finalist as a cornerback, nickelback. He altered everything defensively because he made every play. He ran around and he came off the blitz. He made tackles in space. He did everything. So to think that this defense can be as good as 2011, I think is short-sighted because this defense doesn't have a Tyrann. And quite honestly, no defense in LSU history has had a Tyrann other than the one that had Tyrann. So, I'm coming back in my office now, sorry. I was getting Drew set up. So, and I know this is so professional, right? Maybe you like it. There we go. But, and so here's the but, the caveat. All those guys I mentioned, Mingo, Montgomery, Logan, Minter, Reed, Simon, Claiborne, Matthew, all those guys in 2011 were sophomores. That was a young defense. 2012 was supposed to be the year. So I could very easily look at this year and go, okay, well, you know you got Greedy, and you know you got Devin White, who are studs. And looking to go, man, Rashard Lawrence, he's a junior, but is just starting to emerge. You know, this will be he's only started 10 games in his career. Could Ed Alexander as a sophomore have a monster year? Could Jacob Phillips have a monster year as a sophomore? Could Caleb Von Chasson as a sophomore have a monster year? Could Grant Delpit as a sophomore have a monster year? In that way, I think you could say, all right, in 2011, all of those guys as sophomores went, and then as juniors, you had that same defense. You know, basically everybody back except, of course, Tyron, for obvious reasons. But yet, yes, and it's a big if to think that all of those guys are going to hit and be awesome. But if they are, sure, I mean, you've got ability there. There's no question you have ability there. And I think the bigger X factor is Dave Aranda, who I would take every day of the week and twice on Sunday or on Saturday over John Chavis. And I like John Chavis. But Dave Aranda is just in a different stratosphere right now than everybody else. Long way of answering your question, Jack, but that's a good question. Maybe I'll talk about that today. Maybe I'll do that on air today. Yo, Mark Vidanovich. I think we've done that before, Mark. I've asked you before, and I always forget. They said Joe Burrow can throw a ball 80 yards, no problem. The line was actually he can throw it 70, 80 yards. Well, 70 and 80 is a big difference. And I'm not so concerned as can you just chuck a ball as can you get there quickly. Does that make sense? Like, arm strength isn't – because how many times in a game do you ever need to throw a ball 80 yards? That's not really my concern. My concern is if Jonathan Giles is running a 12-yard out, can you throw it on a line underneath the corner? You know what I mean? Like at a spot accurately with zip to where the corner can't close on it. Like that's the question. It's quick release. Like that's one of the things about Drew Brees. And people always, when Aaron Rodgers is the best ever at it, is his quick release. From the time he makes the decision to throw it, it's gone. Instead of like a big wind up, and you know that was. If you talk to Rohan, like that was his knock because he had this big, long, winded delivery. He had a huge arm, but he had this big, long, slow, winding delivery. Anyway, let's see. Need more LSU fans to invade Dallas for the opener against Miami. May could steal that one. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. I think LSU does beat Miami, and I think LSU will have a 70-30 advantage in attendance at that game. Will Brandon Coleman ever play again for the Saints? I'm going to say yes because I don't think – so keep this in mind. First of all, every year after the final 53-man roster is announced, like literally the next day, there are always more roster changes because you look at everyone else's roster cuts and see if there's anyone else you want to add. So the final 53 is announced, but literally the next day there's always roster moves. So that's one thing. Secondly, because there was nobody else that pursued Brandon Coleman this offseason, Drew, hey baby, Drew, what's the matter, bud? He doesn't like what's on TV. Anyway, because nobody else pursued Brandon Coleman as a free agent, the Saints signed him to a one-year deal at $1 million with like $100K in dead money if he didn't make the team. So my point is, it wasn't like anybody was beating down the door. So I don't know that anybody else goes and signs Brandon Coleman. I think he's just going to be one of those guys like, who's that offensive lineman the Saints would like, oh God, I'm blanking on his name now. Oh, Bryce Harris. They'd waive him, they'd re-sign him. They'd waive him, they'd re-sign him. It was just like if they ever needed a roster, but like he was the guy they'd waive and re-sign 15 times in a year. I think he's that guy. So Hey, Mark Parent, Joey Gibson, good morning. Let's see, Curtis Arville, Coleman should become a tight end. I disagree. I think he's at 6'6", big body, and willing to block on the edge. I think he's better as a blocking wide receiver out on the edge. Scone, what's up, Yancey? Benoit. Hang on, Drew's freaking out. Hang on. Sorry, y'all. Hang on one second. Drew, what's the matter, baby? What do you want to show me? Show me. It's just Mickey. It's just Mickey. Lord. We meant to wrap this up if he's doing this, y'all. Hey, come see me. What you doing? Hey, listen. Listen. Look, you want to see Daddy on TV? Look, now your back is on TV. Okay, love you. Behave, okay? Okay, my thoughts exactly. Coleman could be a tight end because of his blocking ability alone. I love you. Hey, Matthew Lambert. Okay, all I need to do is add mass. Easier said than done, man. Especially when you're 5 years in your NFL career. Curious about the wide receiver depth chart. Could we expect big production from the big boys, Sullivan, Davis, Anderson? Didn't realize Sullivan's 6'7". Will McMath see valuable play time? Splitting hairs. Sullivan's not 6'7". He's probably 6'5". Still huge. Hey, baby, he's okay. And Craig, that's like my biggest pet peeve is the fact that LSU went and recruited all of these gigantor, like gazelle wide receivers, and getting off the bus, they are all so impressive, dude. It's what, baby? Good. Scone. Man, you look at those receivers, and you see Julio, and you see AJ Green, and you see all these gigantor receivers who are just amazing and such a mismatch. And Scone. What? Me what? Me. Abilities. You better fall off my lap, bud. What? Okay. You want to go watch Mickey? No. Go watch Mickey. Why? And then Mimi's going to come over and take you to abilities. And then So's coming over. You'll go swim. Okay, now he's fired up. Okay, so Craig, that's like my biggest pet peeve. They recruit all these gigantor, amazing wide receivers that are gazelles, and they can't get on the field because they can't run routes, they can't get off a jam. When they do get open, they struggle to consistency to catch the ball. That's why you saw Russell Gage last year, because Russell knew how to run routes, and it sucks. The fact that, which is why Jerry Sullivan is here, is because they were hiring recruiters as receivers coaches. Damian Craig brought them zero value on staff other than as a recruiter. He wants to be an OC, but he's just talked to people around that building. Like, he brought zero football acumen, which is amazing considering he was a quarterback. Same thing with Mickey Joseph, and God bless him, he tried, but he's here to recruit New Orleans. That's it, which is why they brought in Jerry. So I hope they can that Jerry can get value out of those guys, because it's a waste if you don't. But I can tell you this much, man. They like Giles. They love Justin Jefferson because he's one of those guys that can run routes and is a polished receiver, which is why he stepped on campus late last year and still contributed. And the two freshmen, Marshall and Jamar Chase, both those guys are going to play. So if they got, a 5-man rotation, I just rattled off 5 names for you. Racey McMath, they really like too, who's coming along. And then you got Stephon Sullivan, who of that group of the big guys is the most accomplished, and probably the odd men out are Drake Davis and D. Anderson, and then you got other freshmen you brought in like Jeray Jenkins and Kenan Jones is another massive kid. What I say all the time, if you're not contributing by year 3 in a major way, it's probably not going to happen for you. It's true for these receivers as well, man. You're just at this point where it's they've brought in now 2 classes behind you, and if you ain't getting it done, somebody else is behind you who's just as talented as you are coming out, and probably going to make plays if you don't. All right, Scott Rodriguez, good morning. Jared Wells, Mark Clements. Let's see, Yancey. We're hearing about the quarterbacks, defense, O-line, all the info. What are you hearing about running backs? Clyde's the guy, and they want to see Chris Curry. I don't care about running backs until I see you in pads, because every one of those guys for years, you can go watch them, run over tackling dummies and spin when nobody's trying to. But what do you do when you have to get low at the line of scrimmage? What do you do whenever someone's taking you on the boundary? It's like that's until you see them in pads, it just doesn't matter. Brian Eubanks, good morning. Let's see. Trivy says, I hope Joe works out because of defense. It could be something special. Yeah, and I would say it to you this way. And this is going to be my stance on this team. And I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday too, who had become really negative about the program at the end with Les, and has kind of disengaged a little bit, but is sort of perking up a little bit this year, and just can't believe that LSU is being projected to go 7-5. And my point is, all right, first, of course, you got to look at the schedule, which we've talked about, but then look at all the questions. Okay, we can talk about all these receivers, right? And I'm not trying to pee on your head at 8:17 in the morning, but we can talk about all these receivers. The reality is, your leading returning receiver is Foster Moreau. You have no idea if any of those guys, especially week 1 against a top 10 team, will give you production. Okay? We talk about Joe Burrow. He's never taken a meaningful snap in college. You don't have a single running back that scored a rushing touchdown in college. And your offensive line, your most veteran guy, is suspended indefinitely, and you're replacing 3 starters, including your center, who was your best offensive lineman last year, who touches the ball in every play and makes all the calls and everything like that. Like, that's not a great recipe to say, yeah, let's go beat a top 10 team. And then 2 weeks later go on the road and beat another top 10 team. You know what I mean? So it's like, do they have talent in some of those spots? Yeah, they got a lot of ability in those spots. They don't have a lot of experience or production or proven anything. Will some of those things work out? Absolutely. Like, could Joe Burrow be really good? Sure. Are they guaranteed that they're going to have a 1,000-yard rusher? Probably not. Could some of those receivers be good and some of them be bad? Probably. So my point is, like, it's going to be this mixed bag of some really good, some that doesn't really hit that you think might. I mean, do you remember, oh God, now I'm blanking on the kid's name 2 years ago, the big fat nose tackle, we called it Trevante Valentine. You remember Trevante Valentine? Okay. He was the unicorn because it was like he was this amazing player. And I literally had someone in fall camp tell me, literally say, he's either going to be an early entry draft pick after 1 season, or he's not going to make it to the end of the year. Like, it's going to be one extreme or the other. And people got so fired up to see him, be the big, nose tackle that Aranda's defense needed. And he was the guy that was going to be the difference. And he didn't play. And they got kicked off the team. So it's like all the talk about that guy leading up to the season, and you got nothing out of it. You know what I mean? So it's like some of it absolutely is going to hit. Like, some of it's going to work and be awesome. Hey! Hey, it's okay, baby. What's the matter? Come see. Why did you just throw my case? Come see. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I have to tell you something. Listen. We're going to be on Daddy's TV show. Listen. Hey, listen. Listen. Hey, can I tell you something? Listen. Hey. Mimi is going to take you to abilities. And then you're going to come home and see who's coming over. So, don't grab my glasses. Oh, okay, don't grab my glasses, baby. No, you're going to break Daddy's glasses. Please don't do that. That's not like Mommy's sunglasses. Okay. Hey, listen. Okay, you can see Sophia. Okay. You gotta get you changed. That's your jammies. All right. What a sweetie. Not when he's fussing like that. Let's see. See if we can get one or two more in here. All right. Any more? Any more questions? All right, I think we're good on questions. Cool. All right, y'all. A couple of reminders. Boudreaux's, of course, as I remind you all the time, this is a fair warning, okay? Fair warning with the Bloody Mary mix. This product will make you temporarily popular, funny, and good-looking. That's what it says right there on the label. So just fair warning that that's going to happen to you if you use this. But I love it, man. It's so easy. Look, pour 2 ounces of your favorite vodka into an ice-filled pint glass. Top off the glass with Boudreaux's Bloody Mary mix. Garnish with celery, okra, olives, bacon, fried egg, chicken wings, cheeseburgers, egg rolls, mini tacos, and pepperoni pizza. That's what it says right there. How do you use it? It's really well done. I love the labeling. Like Darren had a lot of fun with this, and I love it. So look for their products in stores. Obviously, the Bloody Mary mix and the Margarita mix. BoudreauxMix.com is where you can find more info or all their social media. So check it out. Support them in Baton Rouge, Alexander's, Calvin's in Bocage, both Calandro's locations, Mid-City Wine and Craft, which is on Jefferson right at Lobdell, back in that shopping center over there, and then Canada's down in Houma. So appreciate y'all giving them a try. And then today, noon Central, Terrio and I will be on Facebook Live recording the Riot Podcast. I think next Tuesday, our plan is to be at Pluckers on Nicholson to do the show live next Tuesday. So if that changes, we'll certainly let you know. But be on the lookout for a live feed of the Riot Podcast today at noon with me and Terrio. Until then, we'll see you at noon today, or we'll see you for a morning scone tomorrow. Later.